Today we are going to be going on a journey to find out if Icarus is underrated. Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We are back here today with another Are They Underrated video, and this one is going to be on Icarus. So this is a video I've been meaning to make for a while now. I wanted to get this out like the day he went live in the featured crystal, the 6-star, the new 15,000 shard 6-star crystal. But we're about a month late on that. I recorded the initial winter soldier fights the day before the crystal went live, and I just been procrastinating on this one ever since. Don't know why, just happened, but here we are. So Icarus, this guy is pretty cool, man. He could do some really cool stuff, and he's another one of those champions that when you're reading his stuff, he seems pretty complicated. He's got these energized buffs and different buffs that you can gain based on how many energized buffs you have, and then he's got up to 225 incinerate debuffs and everything like that. But honestly, he might be one of the most simple champions to play in the entire game, and I'll just break it down for you really quickly. If you hit the opponent with a light attack on their block or to their face, you gain an energized buff. You can have up to 10. All you need is one, because one of those is going to give you plus 70% combat power rate, which you guys know me, I love increased combat power rate, so right away that's a huge plus for this guy. Now his special one is going to place 12 incinerates on the opponent. Okay, if you use the special one with 10 energized buffs, you get which one do you get? You get a protection buff for 30 seconds. If you use it between 1 and 9, you get an armor up buff. Not gonna lie to you, this doesn't really matter. What you want to worry about is the incinerates. What you should know is that the special 1 places 12 incinerates on the opponent. The special 2 doubles the incinerates on the opponent. Okay, so you always want to use the special 1 first, and you want to go for the special 2 and double them. You could do multiple special ones first, right? Now the same thing here. If you have 10 energized buffs, you gain unblockable. If you have less than 10, you gain physical resistance. Now the armor up buff and the physical resistance and the protection, they could make you pretty tanky, but in a perfect world you're not getting hit, right? If you have 10 energized buffs, you can throw the special 2 right through the block, and that's something that's definitely really cool. So the special 1 also refreshes all of the incinerates, right? So you put some on with the special 1, you double it with the special 2, and you refresh them all with the special 1 again. Now a heavy attack pauses all the incinerates for 8 seconds. Now, based on how many of the energized buffs you have, you use half of them to place more incinerates, but don't worry about that too much, it's just kind of nice to have. The special 3, it's a true damage attack that applies a bonus plus 959 attack rating per unique buff on Icarus. That's pretty cool, but again, don't worry about that too much. What you want to worry about is this. Each incinerate debuff on the opponent grants a plus 383.76 attack rating for this attack. Consume all but 10 incinerates. Just so we're all on the same page here, okay? So 383.76 times 225, which is the maximum amount of incinerates that you can have, plus 86,346 attack rating on the special 3 if you have the max amount of debuffs. And if this is why I said don't worry about the first part. Let's say you have 2 buffs on this guy or 3 buffs on this guy, plus, let's just say plus 2,700, it's pretty much the same thing, right? So you have upwards of 87,000 attack rating with 225 incinerates, which is pretty good. It's definitely pretty good. Another great thing about him is that his sig ability is really not needed, but in the right scenarios, it is going to add a lot of damage onto this guy. So we'll explore that later, but before we get into any of that today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some winter soldier fights, and we're going to start off unduped without suicides. Then I'm going to show you unduped with suicides with a different play style. Okay, so like I said, right when we were going over him, you kind of want to stack up those incinerates, and the way you do that is kind of like this. You go for the special 1 and you place 12. Here comes 12. All right. Now, at this point, I like to go for more special ones, 2 or 3. Now, why? Because, dude, the energized buff is so good on this guy. He gains power very quickly that you're just chaining these, right? So I got 36, 36 of these now, and at this point, heavy attack to pause them for 8 seconds, right? So I have 36 incinerates. Now what I'm going to do now is go for the special 2, and that's going to turn that into 72, except now I have 40 from the heavy attack, so it's going to be 82, okay? So at this point, we're going to go for the special 2. Really sweet animation, and it goes all the way up to 82 of them. I want to pause it again because I want to go for another special 2. Now in theory, you can alternate special 1, special 2, and pause them and add more, but I like to rack them all up like this. Watch the special 2 here, okay? Another one. 168 it should have. There we go. See that? Look at that math. I was able to just double that in my head. Absolutely crazy, the math skills that we got going on here. So one more special 2, all right? And this is going to bring us to 225, which is the max, okay? So here we go. In 1 second here. Nice. 225. Now we don't have to worry about pausing them too much because we can refresh them if we have to, or we can just pause them. So I misspoke there. You do want to pause them because at 225, what you want to do essentially is this, okay? So watch this. Winter Soldier is up at 46% health, okay? We're going for the special 3, and that's going to be it, man. That's going to be it. So this guy's damage potential is very good. So you would have to think to yourself here, right? This guy is unduped. He's not running suicides in this fight. Probably a little bit of overkill too, but especially when you factor into the fact here that Winter Soldier has about 550,000 health, right? We went special 1, special 1, special 1, special 2, special 2, special 2, special 3. Now that's 7 special attacks in total. However, with the 70% increased combat power rate, it goes by very quickly. So one thing that Icarus is not lacking is damage. No doubt about it. That was also pretty speedy, and despite using so many specials, they happen so quickly because of the increased combat power rate. It doesn't feel like you're really doing that. So that's him without suicides, right? Now, you can also keep stacking up those incinerates and do damage that way. So I'm going to show you that here with the suicide masteries on, okay? Now, I wouldn't say that Icarus is the most suicide-friendly champ in the game. However, he does heal very slightly from the Liquid Courage Mastery, from the poison. I believe he has a 20% resistance off the top of my head to the poison, right? So he's going to be healing ever so slightly, and you can do certain rotations like just doing special 3s and heavy attacks, but that's pretty boring with this guy in my opinion. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially try and get 225 of my incinerates and keep them up and just see what kind of damage we can do in damage over time from the big stack of incinerates, okay? Now, when this guy was first released, he was bugged pretty badly, right? And the special 2 is doing way more damage than it should have, and that's why there was like no content release on this guy when he was first released, because it was just like an inaccurate representation of what he can do. But as you can see, that when you're running the suicide masteries with this guy and you stack up all those debuffs, this is doing about 2k damage and damage over time per second, okay? So that's only with 77. That's about 33% of the way, give or take just about, of the max potential here. So now what we're going to do here after eating a combo to the face is we're going to go for a special 2, and I could have thrown it into his block because I had 10 energized buffs. Didn't realize it at the time here in the moment, of course. But yeah, that's one thing that's really nice about that little piece of utility, is that if you have like 7 energized buffs, you go in, you hit the block 3 times, now you have an unblockable special. So here we're going to go for one more special 2, and as you can see, 225. And we're having a bit of a seizure over here. Look at all those incinerates, right? So now we're going to go for one more special 1 and combine them all together. And we're going to see what we're ticking for. We're ticking for a little under 6,000 per second just in damage over time, right? That's definitely not bad. So I wanted to showcase his damage with and without suicides. Of course, he's not the most suicide-friendly champ in the entire game, but as you can see, the damage output is definitely pretty good with or without them. Took about the same amount of time here. This one actually took less hits and we didn't go for the special 3. So that's definitely very interesting, right? So another thing that's really, really great about Winter Soldier here is that he's immune to Incinerate and Shock. Those are two very nice and niche utility pieces right there. So Incinerate and Shock opens the door to a lot of things here, because there are nodes like Backblast, right, where if you crit the defender, you're going to get an Incinerate and then you're pretty much going to die, right? Now, with Backblast, you also have double your crit damage, essentially. So this guy's going to be really, really good there, especially if he's awakened. Every time an opponent tries to apply an effect on Icarus that he is immune to, inflict an energy vulnerability passive, reducing energy resistance by 186 to 920 for 10 seconds. Max 10 stacks. So, let's see if I can do this math really quickly at 6200. 920 times 10. It's looking like 9,200 energy resistance reduction at 10 stacks at 6200, which is really, really solid, man. Especially when you take into account all basic attacks are energy damage. So, in the right scenario, Icarus probably has the capabilities to be an absolutely insane champ, and we're going to test that out today. We're going to awaken this guy, mess around with his SIG ability, and see what he can really do in the situations that he's meant to be in. Now, there's no doubt about it that in like vanilla matchups and matchups where he can do the fights, he has the damage to do them. We saw that against Winter Soldier. He had no problem getting him down, right? Very, very easy to get through that kind of content with the bigger health pools. He's very good for that. But let's see how he performs in the matchups where he's really meant to do. Didn't even mention, by the way, obviously, it's just like instant heal block with this guy, right? Because with Despair, 3 out of 3, you always have over 7 debuffs, so you're just like instantly heal blocking them the entire fight. Even if you go for the special 3 and lose all 225, you keep 10 of them. So he's really good for any matchup that's going to have a lot of healing, as long as the opponent isn't immune to, you know, regen modification. So let's just throw that out there in case I forget to showcase that here. So we're here in 6.2.2. This is like, I haven't recorded this gameplay yet, so we're doing it live. This is like gotta be here Icarus's playground for so many reasons. Look at this lane that we're about to go on. First of all, the global node is Backblast. The attacker's critical damage is doubled. However, if damage from a critical hit exceeds 5% of the defender's max health, or the attacker lands 4 more guaranteed crits, the attacker suffers from an Incinerate debuff, dealing damage equal to their last crit over 5 seconds. Now, also, this node has Freezer Burn. Freezer Burn, man. Now, of course, there is one thing here that Icarus is going to have a really hard time with, and that is Incinerate immunity. And another thing is any champions who will be shrugging his debuffs. So we're not going to be able to do this entire lane, but just, you know, for an example here of where this guy's really going to shine, especially with his SIG ability, keep in mind, 10 stacks, we're going to have a lot of energy vulnerability, and I'm personally very excited to see what that looks like. So let's jump in here and see what happens, okay? Now we're going to have to exceed 5% of Punisher's health in order to have an Incinerate on us with Backblast. There's one. Let's see. I wish they were permanent, I'll say that. If we crit on the heavy attack, it's looking like that'll place one on. But so far, we have not... Keep in mind, you know, we're not running suicides here. Watch this, ready? Through the block. That is nice. I like that. Boom. And here comes, check it out, that heal block. Let's watch it. The heal block's gonna do it. That was pretty solid. Now, if we were running the suicide masteries, we'd probably be tricking with the SIG ability more. But what I care more about is like how easily is he going to get through these fights. That's a little bit more important to me than like triggering the SIG ability by activating Backblast, right? So that was a very, very solid fight. Up next, this one will be interesting because there's Freezer Burn here. Also, look at this. Incinerates caused by the attacker deal 200% more damage. I didn't even realize that. So that'll be fun. There are also some nodes in Act 7 that like have like Incinerate vulnerability, so we'll go check that out. But there we go. There's one Backblast. There's 2. Oh, no, that's probably from, what do you call it? Oh, got a cold snap on us on accident. All right, we got 4 of these things now. Let's go for one of these. Yeah, it's some pretty decent damage, guys. Ooh. Uh-oh! Gotta learn that spacing. 2 energy vulnerabilities and 40 incinerates. This should definitely take him down. Yeah, so 40 incinerates with 2 energy vulnerability was doing 3,000 per second in damage over time. That is definitely very, very solid. Again, unfortunately, we can't fight Night Thrasher. Probably could have went a different way. Probably could have been better. But there are also other nodes and other quests that we're going to go ahead and look at today. All right, I got a feeling this is going to be a really, really cool one. Enhanced Fury, Enhanced Bleed, cool, but what we're looking at here is Clapback. When a Poison, Shock, Bleed, Incinerate, or Plasma is placed on the defender, the same debuff is placed on the attacker. That's going to ramp us up to 10 energy vulnerability like that. Like that, with one special one. So, let's go in here and see. Not to mention, we're going to heal block Sabretooth. So, let's see how we do. Alright? We're going to heal block him right away. Right here. How about that, guys? How about that, dude? Oh my goodness. One more of these. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Yeah, that was definitely, like, really, really, really good, though. Right, aside from the mistimed spacing at the end. Very solid. Really, really solid stuff. He's really got, like, literally everything going on for this fight. He's got the SIG ability, right? That's, instantly giving him full ramp on the SIG, all 10 because of Clapback with the special 1 or the special 2. It's always going to have the 10 hits. And he's got the heal block from Despair. Really cool. Let's see some more stuff too. All right, different nodes, same defender. 6.4.4, Energy Adoption Fire, Hot and Bothered, Icarus. Icarus for Icarus, right? So we know what Icarus does, do a lot of damage. What makes this path so hard is that, like, the best options for Icarus, aside from like Ghost, because Ghost shrugs it off, a lot of them, they do a lot of damage, like for example Corvus, Hercules, all the other guys, right? Even like Captain Marvel movie. Hot and Bothered here, defensive ability accuracy is lowered by 80% while under the effects of Incinerate. So you do a lot of damage, but you have that 80% reduced defensive ability accuracy, making parries fail and everything. With Icarus, we're just going to be putting energy resistance on the defender, while we're getting these, what do you call it? These Incinerates trying to be on us. So I have a feeling he's going to be really good here. Look at this. How about that? We're building up the Furies. And no defensive ability accuracy reduction in sight. Wow! He might be the best option for this particular path. He might be. He might be. That was really, really good. That was really good. Hela he could do. Gulk he could do. Spidey he could do. Miles he could do. Be careful with Miles because of the miss. Phoenix he'd be fine. Masakre fine. Domino possibly. Yeah, he'd be really good for this path, man. We can do more, but I want to go try other paths and nodes for him as well. Why don't we see what happens if we were to fight Human Torch? Well, we have energy damage all over the place. We're fueling his smolders, but it's looking like, well, every time we hit him, we're just keeping that energy vulnerability up and up and up. So Icarus seems like a really good Human Torch counter, where if you happen to mess up, you will not get incinerated on this guy. And the more you hit him, the higher his smolders will get. And you're just going to have instant energy vulnerability and pretty much keep yourself at 10 the entire fight. When you get to so many smolders, it becomes the point where every single hit that you do is going to place an incinerate on you, and you're immune. So not only is he just immune to incinerate, which is really good, he gets a big benefit whenever you were to be getting incinerated. No, however you want to say it, whatever grammatical way you want to say that, whenever Icarus would get an incinerate placed on him, he gets a nice benefit if he's awakened. Right, one more really interesting node combo here. Now there's a few of these all throughout Act 7. I'm sure we'll see more. The biggest thing here is incinerate vulnerability. There's also shock vulnerability here too, by the way, but there's a few of these incinerate vulnerabilities here. Now there's always an incinerate on the opponent. Always, when you're fighting with Icarus, right after that first special one. So you're pretty much going to always be doing 200% more damage. Now, selective time stream. Every 20 seconds, the defender's health is instantly restored to full, and any debuffs on them are removed, but not if there's an incinerate, which you always have, which is really good. There's also paradox here, but I don't think that's going to affect this lane. So I think we should be good. Also, oscillate, which is always annoying, right? Because you might have some incinerates or shocks fall off depending on who you're using, but the incinerates last so long, you don't really got to worry about that here. So let's start packing them on. And you'll see nice 20k crit, which is definitely, you know, decent. Gotta bait out a special 2 from this guy. Okay, let's pause these. Let's go ahead, refresh them all. Nice 9k medium crit. I'm gonna pause these again. Pause them one more time. Beat a special 2. And now, go for a nice special 2 of our own. Right into a refresh during the armor up on the oscillate phase. And as you can see, it's ticking for about 5k per second. Yeah, he's just melting. He's melting just like that. Now, that entire fight, right? Selected time stream didn't even come up once. We didn't have to be worried about him regenerating one time. Just 450,000 health this was. So this health pool was a big jump from everything we've done in Act 6 and Act 7, plus Oscillate as well. 450,000 health, completely just like nuked in 74 hits in about probably what, like a minute and 20 seconds or so. Definitely not too bad, and there are a lot of lanes with just strict like incinerate vulnerability too. In fact, we could look at one more of those too. We're here in 7.2.4 against Black Widow Mixmaster. However, when there's an incinerate, they will not evade, and we have incinerate vulnerability too. So we're gonna like parry heavy our way up to, you know, our first special one, and then it's pretty much game over. I'm just actually gonna do this. I'm gonna do light attacks instead, actually. Or I can also do this. But boom, here we go. From here on out, no more evading. And some nice damage. All right. Definitely some pretty decent damage. With class disadvantage, might I add. So yeah, that Venom the Duck definitely had a rather large health pool. Just missed the refresh on all of them right there because we weren't doing any heavy attacks, but that's all right. One more heavy should do it, if it crit, which it didn't. But regardless, quick and easy, turns the entire fight off, does a really good job at it too. Pretty fun to play, right? So yeah, man, Icarus. Is this dude underrated? What do you guys think? I think he can definitely do some pretty cool things in the right scenario. One thing I didn't even show you is the fact that, yes, he's also immune to shock. So, for example, EMP modification, going to be really good for that. There's that really annoying Ultron at the end of Variant 3 with EMP modification. He has all energy damage, but you can block his healing with Despair, so he'd be really good for that fight. Just in general, any EMP modification, there's EMP mod in Alliance War, he'd be fine for. Won't be the best option, but he could do it, right? EMP mod is just an annoying freaking node, man. So whenever it comes out, shock immune champs are great. There aren't too many great shock immune champions in the game. Of course, there's Dr. Doom and Mole Man and Thing, and Terrax is shock immune as well. Icarus is now shock immune. I believe Super Skrull is also shock immune, I believe. But yeah, shock immunity is pretty rare in this game, so that's a very nice piece of utility to have. Incinerate immunity, as we've seen, is also great. Not only that, but the fact that when you were to be getting I cannot say that phrase. When you would get incinerated and you're awakened, you're going to have a nice benefit as well. And not just incinerate, also shock as well, right? So pretty darn good. One more thing to note here, all basic attacks are energy damage, right? So he'd be good to fight Korg as well. Lots and lots and lots of things he can do. There's also this right here, this when struck by a medium attack, but in my opinion, that's more of a defensive ability. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But if you just pulled an Icarus and you're not happy about it and the 6-star featured, I'd say give him another look because I think he is pretty darn good. He's pretty simple to use and he's pretty fun to play. But all right, my dudes, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, drop your boy a big old like. Let me know what you think about Icarus in the comment section below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future Are They Underrated videos coming to you, well, in the future. Until then, I'll be seeing you around.